The air in the room was thick with unspoken goodbyes. We gathered around my grandmother, Eleanor, her breath a shallow whisper. Outside, life continued, but inside, our world had stopped. Her illness had stolen her strength, leaving only frailty. We held her hands, expecting final words of love. Instead, her eyes flickered open with sudden clarity. She looked at each of us, her gaze heavy with meaning. My Uncle David leaned in, his voice trembling. "What is it, Mum?" We braced for gentle blessings, but her words were a prelude to something else. "I have to tell you something," she breathed. The room fell silent, tension mounting. "Come closer," she whispered. We drew near, the scent of antiseptic and fading roses in the air. Her eyes found David's, filled with apology. We were no longer just a family saying goodbye. We were about to witness the final, shocking act of a story we never knew we were part of. The goodbye we expected was about to be replaced by a revelation. My grandmother's illness had been a long, drawn-out winter. Her world had shrunk to this quiet, sterile room, and ours with it. We gathered as a family, each lost in our own memories and grief. My mother, Maria, sat stiffly, hands trembling. Uncle David stared out the window, lost. I sat by the bed, feeling the cold metal rail. We remembered her laughter, her stories, the woman she was. The silence was heavy with things left unsaid. "Thank you. I love you. Please don't go." We waited for the end, dreading it, yet knowing it was near. Then Elena spoke again. "I need to tell you before I go." Her eyes pleaded for our attention. She beckoned us closer, our circle tightening. The heart monitor's steady beep felt like a countdown. In that moment, we sensed a revelation was coming. The truth would change everything we thought we knew. We braced ourselves for what was next. "David," my grandmother whispered, locking eyes with my uncle, "you are not my son." The words hung in the air, sharp and shattering. My mother gasped. David froze. It seemed impossible. David was her son, wasn't he? But Eleanor continued, her voice gaining strength. 30 years ago, her younger sister, David's real mother, died in a car accident. Eleanor, newly widowed, claimed the baby as her own to protect her sister's reputation. She registered his birth as hers, raising him as her son. The secret was meant to protect, but it became a prison. Guilt festered for decades, creating distance she could never cross. She watched David grow, loving him as her own, but always carrying the truth. The pieces fell into place. Old photos, sad glances, unexplained melancholy. The lie, meant to shield, had defined their lives. Now, in her final moments, she was desperate to break free. The truth was out, no matter the cost. Our family's story had been rewritten in an instant. The confession shattered the room's quiet. My mother broke down, disbelief and betrayal on her face. "All this time," she whispered, tears streaming. David stood motionless, his identity crumbling. He was not who he thought he was. Without a word, he left the room, the door closing softly behind him. The silence he left was heavier than before. My mother wept. I felt numb. My grandmother looked smaller, her energy spent. She had unburdened herself but left us with a new weight. The family tree we knew had been uprooted. We were left to grapple with the wreckage. David was still our David, but the labels felt wrong. The truth had not brought clarity, only chaos and sorrow. We had come to say goodbye to a person, but were forced to say goodbye to our reality. The secret had defined us, and now, so would its aftermath. In the silence after David's exit, my grandmother's eyes found mine. "Forgive me," she rasped, her voice barely audible. She was no longer the family's pillar, just a woman, full of regret. Could we forgive her? Could David? The lie had shaped our lives, denying us the truth. I squeezed her hand, offering silent comfort. A few hours later, with my mother asleep and David gone, my grandmother passed away. Her final breaths were quiet, almost peaceful. The storm was over, but we were left in the ruins. Her passing was not the gentle end we expected. In the weeks that followed, we navigated a new, painful landscape. For some, the truth brought liberation. For others, heartbreak. Yet, facing it began a slow process of healing. If you were in our shoes, what would you have done?